What's good, y'all? This is Creative We Shoot Films, and this is the spot to be at if you want to learn about filmmaking, whether it be audio, lighting, camera work, color correcting, anything filmmaking, this spot to be at. So today we're going to talk about mistakes that every beginning filmmaker makes. So stay tuned. I've been shooting videos for a little over 15 years, and I'm telling you, music videos have to be some of the hardest video work that you can do, that you can get into. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, it's hard to do narrative work like short films and movies and all that's hard too, but music video work is just different because often as a beginner, depending on where you come from, even culturally, you know what I mean? If you're dealing with just, like me personally, I can only speak from my point of view. Me personally, I'm shooting videos for gangsters. I'm shooting videos for people in the streets. Most of my career, you know, has been that. And that comes with its own set of problems. There's a lot of dangerous things that can happen. I'm from the hood, but, you know, ain't nobody Superman, you know what I mean? A bullet, it is what it is, man. But you gotta be careful if you out here, you know, in the streets, filming these videos. You gotta be careful how you rep with the artist you rep with, you know what I'm saying? Like, where he from, is he in a gang? You gotta just be careful how you interact so that, you know what I'm saying, it don't look like you're a part of that system. Stay a cameraman. Just stay a cameraman. You'll be safer, but still keep your eye out. Bring people with you if you can to watch your back. That's just the real facts about it all. I mean, I've been fortunate to deal with a lot of good people, but if you are on the streets, shooting these videos in dangerous neighborhoods, and it just is what it is. It's a fact of life. It ain't no stereotype. I'm from that. But you gotta keep an eye out. Make sure you good. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you want to go home. You feel me? Anywhere you at, be careful. Watch yourself. Don't just be so lost in trying to shoot the film that you forget about your own safety, number one. Number two, don't believe anything you hear. Put it on paper. You feel me? Because people switch up on you real quick. You know what I mean? Your costs on paper. How many scenes on paper? You know what I mean? Like, I do minimum 3 scenes at a certain price point. You want more scenes, the price goes higher. You know? So, and when you shoot these scenes, you know, plan them out. Know where you're gonna shoot them at. Every scene you take, you should have at least 3 to 4 different angles. Shoot a wide, shoot a mid, shoot a close-up. All right? Don't just shoot one shot and then bounce to the next. Do 3 to 4 to 5 different angles for every location. You'll be all right as far as that. If you can get all your money, get it all up front. If you can get it up front, get it up front. Because the reality is they ain't worried about you. They ain't thinking about you. So they give you half the bread, they give you half the money. And then when it's time for them to pay the rest of your money, maybe something happened, a bill came, life happens. So what do you think? They're gonna pay you or they're gonna pay the emergency? They're gonna pay the emergency like any of us probably would. So if you can, get your money all up front. It's a matter of trust. Sometimes I'm telling you, it's just best to get it all up front, not corporate, certain corporate work and all that stuff. No, they usually do halves and all of that stuff. But right now, again, I'm talking about the streets. If you're doing street work, you know what I'm saying? If you're a street music video director, get all your money up front, man. If you can. And if not, you get half of it up front. And if they front, you keep that. It's yours. Put it in the paperwork. You feel me? Know your camera. Get some ND filters so that you ain't overexposed. A lot of beginners, their work is overexposed. You should know before you get any money to work on somebody's stuff, learn your camera. Learn about overexposure. Learn how to correctly color correct your stuff. But learn exposure, man. Dudes be, They highlights be all blown out. It just looks bad. ND filter is like glasses for your lens. If it's between the artist or the sky, try to find a middle ground. Or just go ahead with the artist. That's just what it is. What I do sometimes, if I have to, you know, if you're doing a mid shot to a close shot, bring in the light, bring it closer to him as much as you can. That's outside of the camera. Have that light on him, exposed for him, exposed for the background, and have your extra light, you know, exposing him correctly, and you good. It's gonna look dope. All right, okay, also, I forgot the numbers. They don't even matter, yo. Make sure to get enough B-roll. You know what I'm saying? And for me, music videos, B-roll is either a storyline, the artist not performing with their mouth, the artist in slow motion just chilling, doing their thing, you know what I mean? Smoking, if y'all gonna do that. You know, just some slow motion of them chilling, doing things, but not rapping. Do not have them rap for the slow motion. And also other like cutaway B-roll stuff, like shooting dice, you know what I mean? Showing the jewelry, you know what I mean? Showing some grimy dogs or whatever. Showing the texture of the neighborhood, the streets, the rocks, the garbage. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? I be keeping it too hood sometimes, man. I don't know. But anyway, get enough B-roll. They say for cinematic shooting, shoot at 24p. I agree. I think as a beginner, just shoot 60p. Just shoot at 60p. You know what I mean? And export in Premiere or whatever you use, Final Cut, export in 24p though. Don't export in 60p because it looks crazy whack. Just you can shoot it in 60p so that you know you can slow down anything you want to slow down later. But export the project in 24p. Because yo, if you export it in 60p, I promise you, it's weird. It's gonna look whack. Sometimes it looks too real. I don't know how to explain it. Now, if you're a little more seasoned and you know exactly what you're gonna do, then shoot your performance scenes at 24 and just shoot your slow motion at 60p. But you gotta remember, when you shoot at 60p, you're gonna get dark. It's gonna get darker for you, so you need more light. So just remember that. But yo, export always 24p, always. Okay, for some reason there's a shot you're gonna use a slider in it. Do not use a slider if there's no foreground. All right, there should be something ahead of him, something in the foreground, in order to create parallaxing, so that when you're moving that slider, you see the parallax. Because without the foreground, it look whack. You hardly can even tell. You know what I'm saying? So make sure there's a foreground. You know, if there's nothing around you to have a foreground, bring that slider way down to the floor. Bring it to the floor. You feel me? All the way to the ground. Point the camera up at them, or where you can get it at, to where it looks right. And now it's so close to the ground, your floor, the street, the concrete, whatever, becomes your foreground, and it's going to create more of a movement for you, so it can tell that it's moving. But make sure that's foreground, because if not, don't use a slider. It's just useless. Be real with you. Lighting is mad important. I don't care what camera you got. I'll shoot with a T2i. I'll shoot with any camera, yo. Learn your lighting. Learn about diffusion. I keep stressing this all the time to people, and some people get mad at me because I say you're not a cinematographer if you don't understand lighting. And now I'm a stand by that. I'm a stand by it, hard by it. I'm a stand by that statement. You are not a cinematographer if you do not understand lighting. I'm sorry. You might be able to work a camera and all of that stuff. That don't make you a cinematographer to me. Lighting creates beautiful images. Lighting can turn one room, a boring room, into a beautiful room if you know your lighting and diffusion and everything that goes along with that. So please learn, practice, your lighting. There's enough tools for you to learn it. You just being lazy. Learn your lighting. It's gonna switch everything around. All right? You bring it home and you start to edit to the beat. Either cut on a kick or a snare, or every other snare, or every snare. Depends how big, how the vibe is on the song. You know what I mean? You gotta know that vibe on that song. And don't stay too long on a cut all the time. The only way you stay long on a cut is if it's really interesting. But some people just stay too long. Them extra 3 seconds, them extra 4 seconds, you could have cut to something else more interesting. Unless it's interesting and it's telling a certain story, you just gotta be careful with your cuts. You know, if it's an upbeat song, just cut to the beat, cut to that kick and snare. You know what I mean? If just boom, boom, just cut to that snare or every other snare, you know, but always cut to the beat. Where when a dude is doing this to the song, when they watching the video, the beat is, the video is going to some type of timing. There's all type of timing, you know. I'm a music producer too, so that tends to help me with timing. And we're gonna get into that some other day about how to do some, you know, sound scoring for your projects, for narrative work, but not today. I digress. Edit to the beat. Yo, lenses. Buy a wide lens, a medium, and a close-up. So for me, that's usually 12 millimeter, 35 to 50, 85. Now, I'm shooting on old school lens. This is an old school lens, the Minolta MD 28 millimeter, but it's good enough. I can consider this a wide. I can make it wider if I wanted to. Just bring the camera back. If you're using a gimbal, like we tend to do, you know, I start with the wide. What I like to use for gimbal work is the Rokinon 12 millimeter wide. I love that lens, and I focus it to infinity. And focusing to infinity is like, after a certain point, everything's in focus. So it could be after 2 feet, everything's in focus. Anything after 2 feet, everything's in focus. So you're able to move around and do all kind of sweeping shots, and it look like it's in focus even sometimes when it ain't really in focus because you're moving. But most of it is in focus. And then after you get your wide establishing shots, shoot like 1 or 2, 3 of them to make sure you got some good wide shots, sweeping shots going in and out smoothly. Then you come into then I probably would put like a 25 millimeter at like 2.0, and I'll stay a certain distance. I'll stay here, I'll focus, and I'll stay a certain distance and just make sure I'm in that distance for a medium shot, and then I'll go close up. So that's all I'm saying. As far as gimbal work, you're gonna do some gimbal work, make sure you get that 12 millimeter, focus it to, or whatever it is. If you know how to focus to infinity, get that thing focused to infinity. You're gonna be dope. And get your mid shot, get your close up. Remember, like I said, 3 to 4 to 5 angles per location. If the artist is boring, which can happen, take it off the gimbal. If the artist is boring, take it off the gimbal, get a shoulder rig, and just move with it. You know what I'm saying? Just move with it. You know what I'm saying? Just make it interesting. It's up to you now to make it interesting, because really, you know, you can have the dopest scenes, you can create a dope light, but sometimes an artist is just boring. They don't know how to get live and make it look right. So you got to put it on that shoulder. You got to make it dope. You at the end of the day, it's your job to make sure that video is dope. You feel me? Can y'all stop it with the whack effects? Y'all titles is whack. They mad big and crazy and weird. Don't do that. Keep it simple. Look at professional work. Try to mimic professional work, what professionals do. I don't understand how you think. Sometimes I don't see how some of these video guys, these cinema, whatever you want to call them, do videos and not see that your work is cheesy. It's generic. Clean. sometimes simple is the best that you can do. The simple will give you a great result. I use the basic impact font sometimes. Sometimes I'll go outside of that if I need to, but impact font works pretty good. Keep it small, or I mean, it's real simple. Keep it simple. Keep it small. Video directed by, just keep it simple. Now there's certain ways we can spice it up, but just don't go too crazy with these big old weird effects. Then it disappears or it moves all over the place. It just looks whack. It looks amateurish, and it really ain't a good look. It really ain't a good look, homeboy. You know what I mean? So don't do it. And not just title effects, not just the weird title effects, the mirroring, and don't do any wipe effects. Don't do any page curl effects. Don't do any of those effects. Any of those 99% of the 95% of what comes with your NLE as effects, don't use them because they look generic. All right. Now don't get me wrong. There's some songs that they want the certain effects with the eyes getting crossed out and all the scribbles, and that's dope if the music called for it and you know how to put it correctly in the right place within the right context. It's dope. But some people just be running to some weird effects, yo. Those are some of them. I could stay here forever. You know what I mean? It's hard being a music video director. It's great, but you could learn a lot. You learn a lot being a music video director. You know what I mean? Because they ask for a lot in a little bit amount of time. Value yourself. Once you get to a point where you got enough under your belt and you're learning and you're getting better, value yourself. Don't let people just keep underpaying you. Know your worth. Because if you don't know your worth, if you don't make sure other people, if you don't value yourself, nobody else is gonna value you. You know what I mean? And I know sometimes we could be thirsty because it's hard to get work out here sometimes because there's so many people out here doing work. We got people shooting videos for $150, $200, and I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather work a 9 to 5. I'll be real with you than to be shooting videos for $200. It's hard work, but it's work that it teaches you a lot. It teaches you how to deal with people. It teaches you, how to deal with lighting and different things, how to solve problems. If there's something you need to know that I didn't cover about music video work, just ask in the comments, and I'll be, more than happy to either do another video about it or just answer you in the comments if I can, you know what I mean? But I appreciate your time, appreciate you listening to me, and I guess that's it. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell on the side so you get notified on time. And again, this is Creator for We Shoot Films. And like I always say, it is what it is. I'm out.